So yesterday I wrote two different dissertations on a Topps baseball set. This Topps baseball set is called Topps All-Star Game Atlanta 2025. This was actually the first set that I've ever opened and started collecting from. I started with Series 1, I think, in 2025 and tried to flip some cards, but I remember being one day at GameStop, I think it was, and Topps didn't tell anybody about this drop. They just shock dropped it on us, and me and my bro, we were over there at GameStop, and we saw 10 of these boxes just sitting there. We're like, what the hell is this? We've never seen this before. So naturally, we grabbed every single box, took it home, ripped it open, and had the time of our life. That got me to my first ever collection. And that first ever collection is Cam Smith. It started with an of 250 Cam Smith, and it has brought me all the way to almost the full rainbow. So I am getting pretty close. I am missing only the black and the superfractor, and the superfractor has not been pulled yet. What got me to write this dissertation, this first one, was just a little thought that I had. I stopped collecting cards as much for about a year or so, and I figured by the time that I had come back, there would be a surplus of tens and maybe some of fives, but that wasn't the case. The case was there were no new cards whatsoever. The same 3 out of 10s that had been pulled in 2025 were still in circulation or in somebody's binder in 2026, same time next year. There was 1 out of 5 that I caught and I ended up buying. So I have one of the second out of fives. So there's 2 out of 5s. So I'm blessed for that. But in that same time, the superfractor didn't get pulled. Not only that, there are some other players whose superfractors and low end card numbers didn't get pulled either. Paul Skeens, for example, Roki Sasaki. These guys have red and even black and superfractor parallels that are still out there. So, with that being said, I kind of got a little suspicious of what was going on. Not suspicious, but I just realized that nobody's opening these All Star Game packs. If it's been a full year and there's no new Cam Smith cards at all, low numbered, nobody's pulling these packs. So I figured I would look into it, and I hopped on my good friend here, Gemini, and put in some pretty decent prompts. It did most of the writing for the dissertation, so I will give credit where it's due. I did not write this full thing, but I did do quite a bit of research to get it to give me a nice outcome. So it titled it this itself. I couldn't even think of words this big. Market dynamics and quantitative probability analysis of the 2025 Topps All-Star Game Mega Box Baseball Collection. So, the 25 Topps All-Star Mega Box it's a great set. Only because it had great players and all-stars. It had Judge, Trout, Otani, Tatis, Jordan, but it also had a new class of rookies, and these rookies are very good, or they're going to be very good. So the point is, you're getting not only a mix of the old veterans in the MLB, but you're getting a mix of the new guys, the up and comers, the ones that they're going to carry the league in a few years. We're going to know their name, household names probably. Then on top of that, with this being in Atlanta and being for the All-Star game, it brings that flair of Atlanta. So you got Chipper Jones, you got John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, all these guys. I think Andrew Jones is in there. So we're mixing multiple eras of baseball into one set, and this one set is unique. It's limited edition. It's never been released. It won't be released again, and it hooked me. I'm not sure if anybody else feels the same way, but I instantly got hooked. I saw what they were doing with it, and I liked it. I thought that it was very unique. So throughout this set, it's very obvious that there's going to be high tier players, mid tier players, low tier players, and believe it or not, that does play a key factor. All of this will play a key factor if I want to buy in on this set or not, or if I did buy in on this set. I'll tell you all at the end of the video. So we'll start with number one. We know Shohei Otani. People are going for that 1 of 1. His cards are going to be through the roof no matter 5 years from now. If you try to pick one up, it's still going to be expensive. It took a little while for people to realize that Otani's not the only most amazing player out there. There is a guy named Paul Skeens. His 1 of 1, $2,400. Even his of 50s, others of 75s, of 25s, they're still fetching a lot of money. $200 for an of 50. That's insane. So, anyways, that brings me to my next point, Paul Skeens. Usually, I feel like in sets, pitchers aren't as coveted as hitters are, or fielders, or just general players. But when you have somebody like Paul Skeens, who is absolutely dominating, I believe he's a rookie in this season. That turns the tides quite a bit. So people are Skeens chasing. Not only are they Otani chasing, they're chasing Skeens as well. So I know Skeens had some autos in this, so people chased some of his autos, and they were chasing his one of one, of course. So you get memorabilia, you get relics, and then you get low numbered cards. So that's another thing. These are the high tier, very high tier players that we're talking about right now. We take a little step into still into the high tier category. We have Roki Sasaki, just hype behind it. Dodgers came from Japan, has a lot of hype behind his name. His cards are going to be expensive too. His 150 is getting between 225 and 320 on his baseball auto. It's for the Braves cards. You have the legends, Acuna Jr., Riley, Andrew Jones is more of a legend. Chipper Jones is more of a legend, but Strider as well. These guys are coming in as inserts as well as base cards. So Braves fans are getting it good on this one. They're getting an all-star game insert with a relic on it out of 10. And they're starting at 50 and only going down. They're not starting at 250. So these are good cards and they're going to sell for a fair amount of money. I would say Austin Riley and Acuna, they're going to do a little bit better than Strider and shit, but either way, other players in this, Greg Maddux, Hank Aaron, some of the famous Braves. And then you take a little step down, but that step down is minuscule when you really think about it. You got Aaron Judge. That's not really a step down, but in the baseball card world, apparently it is. So you got Judge. His cards are valuable. You can do his rainbow, like they said here. Apparently somewhat easy. Couldn't really imagine that, but we also have Ellie De La Cruz in a similar category and Jackson Holiday. They're sophomore, junior players. They're still getting accustomed to the game. They're not crazy good yet, but their potential is definitely there. So these are guys who people want to collect as well. So you got to keep that in mind. And then on top of that, you have to keep in the sleeper people, like the sleeper cells, the crazy rookies that are probably going to hit 50 home runs in 10 years, like James Wood. What about Wyatt Langford? He's going to be a staple in 2 years. He's just a quality player. Kobe Mayo, we'll see. As Orioles fans, you guys like him, so we'll give you that. Anyways, with all that being said, with all the value and all the talent and everything in this box, and these base cards are all just talented players, that brings a really different perspective. So you're pretty much, if you pull a numbered card, you're going to pull a good player's numbered card. So everything almost becomes high tier at this point. This is a high tier set, but you're paying $50 for it. So to break it down, it's 80 cards in a box, 4 packs, 20 cards. I liked it. It felt nice to have not have to open 15 different packs. You just open one of them up, scroll through it, get your cards at the end. I got a relic, I think, and I don't remember what else I got. Cam Smith of 250. I didn't get anything crazy, but my buddy got an Otani, a green Otani of 99, and he also got an auto of Chase Utley. So, and the few boxes we got, not too bad. Anyways, so this is the formula to pull the probability of pulling a high tier card in a single mega box. This is when all of them were in circulation. So you got your common parallels, you're going to get those every single time, and basically you're going to pull a 250 or a 150. It's going to happen. That's what happened to me. Most of the ones that I didn't get anything good, I got a 250 or a 150. And then here you can see they have rare autos as well as regular autos and elite parallels, which I wasn't aware of. Then these rare autos start at 25, so rarity plus rarity equals rarity squared. There's relics. Never really cared for those, to be honest. I did get a J Rod relic. Not a big fan of him either way, but it is what it is. I think I sold it for 15 bucks. And then you got your 1 out of 1s. So 1 in 3,200 chance of pulling a 1 out of 1. Not bad. Anyways, this is basically saturated markets entire, how do I say this? So I queued up Gemini and I requested that Gemini pull me the new odds that I would pull a serial numbered card. And I did that by going into Gemini right here. I took the basics of the set. I told him, hey, it's 2025 All Star Game. I'm gonna give you all the basics, all the foils. I'm gonna tell you how many players are in the base set, and each player is gonna come with this many foils, parallels, excuse me. And then I added in as well the inserts, and then how many players there were per insert, and then how many parallels were there per insert as well. On top of that, I just wanted to clarify that this is an exclusive random release. It hasn't been re-released since 2025. It won't be re-released ever, I don't think. I hope not. But I gave it all the information I could. I think it was right here. I gave it all the information I could. There were about 30,000 boxes released. 1,500 of them were in cases. So 1,500 cases, 30K boxes, released on June 1st, 2025. Box, 20 cards per pack, 12 cards, one base parallel, six inserts, and one guaranteed numbered card. That was the catch for this set. Um, Told inserts and yada yada, and then I dropped eBay right here as one of the marketplaces to search for all of the parallels that have hit the market, and I use Sports Card Pro. I use it that often, but it's good to see what cards are in the market as well. It's pretty for the most part. So I was essentially asking Gemini to help me figure out what parallels have been pulled for all the players. So Gemini did its thing. It cooked up. It gave me, the part that I read off to you guys, and it gave me a formula. God knows I'm not writing that formula. I'm not that smart. Um, This is the probability of pulling a high tier card in a single mega box. It put its own model and it came out with a chart, and here we go. So, based on the distribution of these, card base sets and then another 100 card insert sets, these are probabilities you have of getting a parallel, an autograph, a relic, or a one of one. And this is if you buy one box, right? So, common, we don't even care about those. Mid tier, those are way easy to pull already. Keep in mind this second column is odds per pack, not odds per box. So let's just look at the third column. So it makes it easier. So a mid tier parallel, three a chance that you're going to get one per box. So you're probably going to get one. High tier, 75, 50, 25, 1 in 12 odds. I really think that there are less boxes out there. Maybe like 1 in 8 chance of getting a high tier. Elite 5 for all the rest of, that haven't been pulled. I could see, 40. Um, an autograph, a base autograph, 1 in 30 is great odds. All these are wonderful odds. Like, if you're telling me that these are my odds, I'm going to buy a pack for 50, 60, $70. I mean, ever get autos, and I have a 1 in 30 chance. I mean, I buy a few packs and have a few of them. A auto 1 in 100, 1% chance to get a rare auto, that's pretty good for Card World. A relic card, 1 in 20, could care less. And then what really struck me sideways. 1 in 800 chance to pull a 1 out of 1. That is insane. The odds of pulling a superfractor being 1 in 800, it became a no-brainer. I mean, it's sort of one of one. I'm not trying to pull your one of one, but in there. Um, there's a few other players we'll bring up here in a minute that are in there still. So there's good names, and I like those odds to pull that name. So Please note, Gemini says these odds are estimates based on the secondary market, and so it's not saying they're perfectly accurate. What is the advantage of this set? It's the parallels. So the new odds benefit, as I said earlier, is these good players is the inclusion of all these parallels that they added, the 250, 150, 99, 50, ton of parallels. You're gonna get a colored card, guaranteed. People like colored cards. Nobody wants to get, a set, rip it open at home, be excited, and then you pull base. Happens to me all the time. I don't really buy, often for that exact reason. This is one of the last ones I actually bought, besides, I think, Chrome. Bought one hobby of Chrome and didn't touch it since. Anyways, the look of the card, the way, the swagger, um, brought to it as well, as parallels to go along with it. So the cards just look good. They look good. It's higher than any other set, so 25% higher, which is quite a bit. So it was very, very appealing. And then you add the legacies and the greats to it. They're all on inserts, and those inserts, numbered or even auto inserts as well. Some of the valuation here, we're gonna take a look at. Otani base insert going for $8 ungraded is insane. His foil is 150. You saw how easy it was to get a gold foil up here, right? Let's 1 in 12 boxes and you make 150 bucks. It's insane, right? You grade it and you have 750. You're fucking insane. King Jr., that name, you put that name on anything, it's gonna sell. Same as Shohei. You got Derek Jeter, not as popular, but Ben Williams, all those guys. Anyways, add to the effect of this box. People still love those guys. I grew up watching most of them. And it also revealed that the red foils and black foils of these legends are sought after cards. So people want the of 10, they want the of 5 in their collection. So it only added fuel to the fire, making this all-star game tops drop what it was, and it was amazing. So it's just adding a technical, I did mention that the condition could be a little bit tough to grade just based off of the foil from the All-Star game parallel. I never ran into any issues with that. I'm not sure if anybody else did, but yeah. This, if you feel like reading it, you can pause the video. There's a rating multiplier, just about, and if you grade the base card, what that increase looks like if you hit a 10. So shows you the high value players. So I did ask, I was curious at lookout recommendations, which I do appreciate. So thank you, Gemini. The 10 individual targets you should be seeking in this set. And funny thing is, a few of these are still in this set right now, and it's 2026, and they haven't been pulled. So this is why we're seeing triple, quadruple almost for these boxes. So number one, Shohei. Number two, Skeens. Number three, surprisingly, is Roki. I have to remember that this set was released in 25, so he's a lot more sought after. This is favorable. This is very, very favorable. There's old heads that you could get that are good. There's rookies. It Great odds. Who doesn't want to pull any one of these cards? So, with that being said, it gave us our first percentages. So we'll take a look at this. Now, the lower population count of these boxes, you have a 1 in 3 chance of pulling a card numbered to 99 or higher. So mid tier. You have an 8% chance of pulling a high tier parallel. So high tier being 25, 50, 75. And then about a 3% chance of pulling an on card auto from the greats or hometown heroes subsets. Which, when you think about it, I don't get autos very often. Those are pretty good odds. To maximize the probability of success, it's telling us, hit density, the autographs, it's favoring the legends and the rookies. So, like, there's so much value in this box that why would you pass up on it? Just because Otani's one of one got pulled and Judge's one of one got pulled doesn't mean that there's not heat in this box still. So that is essentially, a breakdown of the odds are looking like now that Otani's one of one is gone. Cards are kind of the market. It's not over. There's plenty of players that are good in here that still have a 1 of 1, and they still have an 05, multiple of 10s. We'll get to that here in a second. The one I'm looking for, which is Cam Smith, and Skeens and Roki Sasaki. I'm sure there's some other good names in there, but that's what I focused around. So distribution, there were about 30,000 boxes. Those went into 15,000 cases of each. Uh, MSRP at $50. So the theoretical total population, and this is when we're talking about this, we're thinking about who's really out there. That's the real question you need to ask first. Is it worth the money? So we're gonna take a look first at how many cards are in each set, the total population, and the tier, and then the numbers. So the base set parallel inventory starts with and then it goes to rainbow foil. So that's your first parallel, technically, unnumbered. So it's about 120,000 of them. You're getting them in every box. You jump down immediately into pink. There's 250 of these for each player. There's only 25,000. Continue all the way down. Stop at around red. You get 5 red foil parallels for each player. For each 100 players, that's 500 red parallels. And then for your foil fractor or your super fractor, of course, there's 100 players, so you're going to get 100 super fractors. And then with the inserts as well, so 200. That said, the total amount of serial numbered cards is going to be 67,165. With being serial numbered, we're not counting the rainbow foil, by the way. That's what the base set generated. 67,000 parallel cards in 30,000 boxes, I think it was. They're given the box count of 30,000. So more than 2, maybe almost 3 numbered cards a box. So let's take a look at the parallels. So it has All-Star Game Greats. There's 50 of those cards, Homegrown Heroes, and Classic Swings. All in all, it's 100 inserts. And these inserts, when you parallel them, they're rarer. So basically what I'm saying is they're not going to start at 250. When you get a parallel of an insert, it's going to start at 50. So you have 100 of these starting at 50 going all the way down to, 1 of 1 superfractor. It gives you 9,100 paralleled inserts, which I did pull one. I pulled a Clayton Kershaw, I think of 25, and then like a Tory of 50 in that same exact little like tube pile. So yeah, there were a lot of parallels in these boxes. With the inclusion of all these Atlanta players, a big market as well. Atlanta has a lot of fans. That whole southeast part of America is pretty much Braves fans. So I'm gonna move on. And finally, get into some high tier action. So the high tier chase assets are autographs and relics. We've got the All-Star Game Greats, autographs, insert we just mentioned. There's only 43 cards of this, and as you can tell, it starts at 50 just like the other inserts do. So there's not an overwhelmingly amount of serial numbered cards. So we got All-Star Greats, Classic Swings autos, Homegrown Heroes, Greats relics, Greats auto relics. So there's only 32 of the auto relics, and it started at 25. And I didn't even realize that the Greats relics started at 10. So those are a lot harder to find. So in the grand total, 160 cards for high tier chase assets. That's 160 different cards, giving you 9,810 different parallels to possibly get from high tier chase assets. Like, let that sink in for a minute. That's a lot of cards that are high tier. The total volume of serial numbered cards produced was 86,000. The production run was, what was it, 30,000 boxes, and you have 86,000 serial numbered cards. That's crazy. You're guaranteed like 3 of them a box. So that made, worth it. And the pricing was not crazy. It was $50 a box. You're getting this much value out of it. It's a no-brainer. That's why it sold out so quick. Anyways, the secondary market and what happened there. Things popped immediately on eBay. I remember it was chaos. It was fun. I enjoyed every second of it. That's when I started selling cards. I sold almost every one of my base cards and my inserts. So that's how popular this set was. Basically, what it's telling us right here is that by the time the All Star game had released, it had this exhaustion phase where a majority of the main supply has already been ripped apart. People love this set so much that they're not holding on to it and trying to, get value out of it. They're not trying to, I don't know, do whatever they cuddle with it at night. This is a good set. I'm ripping this. If I get my hands on it, it is not sitting in my closet. I need what's in that box, and everybody else felt the same. So with that being said, a lot of the larger volume, people on eBay who are selling, they did mention that there was a significant depletion in some of the inventory, which I found very interesting. I actually didn't know that. This is what a few of the people said based on, told me. So we're going to assume it's accurate, but I would take it with a grain of salt. So Bear State Cards, he reported over 159 individual sold units from a single 25 All-Star listing. This is normal. I posted them on eBay. I made a single post where you can just buy all the cards you want. I sold probably 200 of them or so, however many base cards I had. The rookies were selling very, very well. The veterans slowed down at the end, but they sold. They still sell. I sold some of the Yamamotos I have the other day and Mike Trout. So they sell. They're good cards. Another person reported 77. He said there's a heavy skew towards veteran based cards, indicating a breakdown of multiple cases, which is interesting. And this guy, like I said, for me, the top rookies were out of stock. People just were going for James Wood. They're going for Cam Smith. They were going for Jacob Wilson. Can't really remember who else was a rookie in this one, but there was a good rookie class. Anyways, this out of stock status for these rookies is a big indicator that, market got torn apart and everything's almost secondary now. People ripped and ripped and didn't save, and it's like, done with. People are kind of seeing all these judge cards out there, and there's so many different parallels that, maybe you get a little clouded, but I see it. Anyways, let's take a look at the low numbered parallels. So we know that Shohei, he's out. Judge, out. Bryce Harper, out. They got their one of ones pulled, they got their up fives pulled and up tens, and those guys, you know. But who wasn't gone? Let's take a look. So the surfacing of these one of one superfractors and red of five foil cards is going to be our most data point for estimating, is in these mega boxes still. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the of 50s. I'm looking for the of 10s, the of fives, the one of ones, the autograph relics, Yeah. So this is really where we're starting to dig in. So Paul Skeens currently, he still has three of his five red foils, two left still. That's still a good sign. Drew Romo, he's got four left. And this was moving quick too. This was happening probably every other day. At about 40% of the of five red foils and a handful of these one of ones are already pulled. It says it's 70% of the main stars gone. Some of these guys still have cards in here, such as Paul Skeens. He still has some red foils, so it's going to increase in value because there's still hits in here. But the hits are concentrated now. It's a small group, it's a select group, it's a niche group. Let's look at the remaining chase inventory. So, taking a look at the remaining chase inventory, true chase inventory, Jim and I came up with about conservative 75% open rate on these boxes, leaving us with 7,500 unopened boxes. So we're using this 25%, which is 7,500 unopened boxes, to see how many unopened low number parallels there are, right? So first off, we got our foil fractors, our super fractors. The total pop for that was 261. It's estimated there's 65. It's not confirmed. Maybe somebody got a Drew Romo and didn't tell anybody because they didn't fucking care. Man, I keep dissing on him, man. I feel really bad. The red foils, there were 1,300 total. There's 300 still in 7,500 boxes. That's not bad. The black foils, 2,600 total. Now there's 650. So you can go down here and just read and just take that in. But the one thing I want to look at is the autographs. There were 7,800 and there's still 2,000 autographs remaining. That's a lot of autographs. But out of everything, all the total numbered cards, 86,000. 21,000 numbered cards remain in 7,502 unopened boxes. 65 of those being one of ones. So this 21,000 is distributed amongst 7,500. So the odds are going to be still consistent, values there in these boxes, but you have to be careful before you overvalue these boxes. There is too high of a price to pay. It's obviously gambling, but you're going to the casino with better odds this time. What this is going to tell us is odds of an autograph 1 in 3.8 boxes. That's really good. Pulling a red foil 1 in 23. Pulling a 1 of 1. You have 1 in 115 odds of pulling a 1 out of 1. That is fucking insane. That is a selling point in itself. What other sets are you going to go pick up for below $100 that assume you're going to get a superfractor every 100 boxes? It's beyond me. It hurts my brain to think about. The distribution and the serial numbering on this and how it ended up this way a year later. 1 in 115. I'm pulling any schemes parallel is 1 in 45. Pretty good still. Basically, probabilities that indicate a 1 of 1 is gonna still be kind of hard, but I've never pulled a 1 of 1. And when I see 1 in 115 odds, I like those odds. I'll take those odds every day. Take a look at the price and why it is 3 times the original market price and why the price went from about 80, probably about 80 to $85 a box to 120 by the end of the night. So the valuation of this box was detached from the original value just due to market forces, it being a Fnatic exclusive, and then how scarce it was. It was a rare release. There's only 30,000 boxes. It was really the first major release for a lot of these rookies. I remember that specifically because I recall it being one of Cam Smith's first cards. It might not be his very first, but it's released on an all-star variant, so it's already covered. His base card is covered already with foil, so it looks better than any of these Series 1, Series 2, and even Chrome, in my opinion. It's short printed, it's rare. People are still buying base cards off of me for these players. And then you have, look at these guys' names. Paul Skeens, Roki Sasaki, James Wood. You hit his of 5, you get $350. And this is with today's numbers. You're still going to get $350 in May of 2026. Roki, you're still going to get money. People still love Roki. The Dodgers love him. Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens. On top of that, it was a mega release set, like a mega box release set. No hangers, no fat packs, none of that bullshit. Straight megas. Atlanta Braves tax. Braves fans love it. It was a good marketing choice by Topps for sure. So I had to go through Sports Card Pro to, how many sales there were for each parallel. So for Paul Skeens, his red foil, when it popped up, it would go for about $350, and that was in January. James Wood, still going for $330. Roki Blue of 150 is $80. That's easy to get. That's easy. Chase cards that remain are not the super chase cards that were there when we started. They're still good players, and they're still going to command a decent price for 5 of 10, whatever it may be. 260 one of ones. In the first 90 days, there were 45 that were reported. By day 180, that grew to 110. So they're being pulled every other day, essentially. As of now, mid 26, probably May 6th or 7th, count is stuck at about 190 to 205. So we're left sitting here with about 60 or so one of ones. That's a lot. And then we have to take in variations to this. These one of ones didn't get reported. Very rare. So there's fewer than 40 unique black foil cards that are currently active on eBay from the entire 101 card set. So that shows that there are 180 individual black foil sales. That's not that many. That is really not that many. So there's 1,010 black foils in the set, and there's only 220 that have been accounted for. That's 20%. This means that there is going to be a lot of black foils, which is good for me. I'm chasing a black foil, actually. If you get a Skeens of 10, that's money. Let's take a look at our modeling of box content logic. Don't even know what this is. Just RNG. Let's look at the final inventory. So these are estimates, by the way, because you gave it eBay and I gave it Sports Card Pro. Obviously, people do cash, whatever it may be. Anyways, 7,500 boxes remaining is what we're going with. So there's about 2,000 autographs, so that means you have a 1 in 4 chance to get an auto. 70 or so one of ones, 1 in 100 chance to get a superfractor. If you're an actual investor and you're just gonna buy it to get the box, so as long as those one of ones stay out there, it's gonna keep rising. So for collectors, opening these boxes is not going to be ideal personally to me past $90. 110. Anything past 90 is high risk. It's not worth it in my opinion. Just wait. Secondary market at that point. $150 is a risk, but reward. You could get the one of one. You never know. Chase is a little tighter. So there's a third sort of collector, completionist, somebody who does a rainbow. Me, basically, who's looking for the of 10 Cam Smith. Rainbow of 2025 rookie, pulling every parallel from of 250 to one of one, is now an exercise in the secondary market negotiation rather than a box breaking. That is mostly true, except for Cam Smith. And I know that because I've been trying to collect this rainbow for since this set came out actually. I stopped collecting, and when I came back, all of the cards that I was still looking for had not surfaced. Not a single new low parallel card had surfaced. And I looked everywhere. Cards weren't getting pulled. And what does that mean? They're in the fucking boxes. So what does that tell me? I need to go buy a few boxes. I have to hunt it at this point. People aren't pulling it. They're holding these boxes. They're doing whatever the fuck with them. Might as well try to get it myself. It's more fun that way. If I pull the one of one, holy shit. And the of 10, oh my god, I'd be in heaven. I paid $80 for each of them, so I got them at a pretty fair price. Um, in summary, the chase in the remaining box is very much alive, and it's because of Skeens, it's because of Cam Smith, it's because of Roki Sasaki. Once those players get their one of ones pulled, the chase is over. And that's my opinion. I really do stand behind it. I'm not done. I'm chasing Cam Smith, right? So I want to know, what are my odds of pulling a Cam Smith one of one, any out of five, or any out of 10, based on any of the data that we scrubbed. So we scrubbed Sports Card Pro, eBay, and in a few minutes you'll see we scrubbed PSA as well. Gemini is telling us here basically that there's a good chance that we could find Cam Smith's 10s. It's going to be hard to find the one of one, but black foil out of 10 is 1 in 1,000. I like those odds were way better than they were earlier. And I like them better than the prices that were online and the experience I had to go through trying to get one of these cards. Some weird collectors. Anyways, the combined odds is 1 in 682 boxes. Those are really good odds. 1 in 682 for anything between 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 1. I will take my risk and I will have fun doing it, and I might hit a Paul Skeens instead. For me personally, it is specifically Cam Smith. My odds, I asked earlier, of pulling any of these cards, about 1 in 682. I was also curious. Pricing. What is a realistic price to where you draw the line and you gotta say, hey, not worth spending this much money to potentially not get anything good? I said it's 80, and Gemini agrees. You want to rip, that's essentially what I'm doing. It's still pretty good value. Odds that you're going to get your money back off of each box is a lot higher than it was previously. This is an $80 lottery ticket is what we're looking at. $80 as one of the best investments for getting one of the best returns on any of these cards. Basically, I was looking to acquire boxes, and my strategy was $80 to $90. Don't go over $80 to $90, which I didn't. And I got a total of, I want to say 5 boxes. I got them all at about $80 to $85. And this is a great buy zone for me. I'm comfortable ripping that. And even if I get rinsed, I didn't sink 150 into each box. That would break my heart. $80 is a good gamble to take. And if, 150, probably not going to get a return. Cutting your loss basically once everybody discovers the good cards. This is your lost cut right here. Cam Smith and Paul Skeens. If they both come out and say that their one of ones were pulled, it's game over. If you can try to get into it now and try to get into it while they're still there, I would definitely do it. The return on investment is there. I don't see myself taking too much of a loss doing this, but I'll report back at the end of this video, either crying or screaming because I got a one of one or I got fucking rinsed. What it's telling us here is as well 105 is the superior investment price. So there's some wiggle room. I did have one more question. I thought about PSA and how that affects the population of the cards that are in the market. Check the PSA populations if you haven't all yet, just to further determine what we could possibly get. Because cards could be getting graded, you know? Incorporating PSA is significant when refining the amount of parallels left. According to our last PSA data, the total population for this specific issue stands at 2,000 cards. Not only that, 8 autographed PSA cards. 8. I almost don't, I didn't believe it when I read it. I was very shocked. So we're comparing this again, right? 86,000 serial numbered cards, 10,000 autographs. These low PSA numbers show that the higher tier cards are in the boxes, not in the streets. 8 total graded autographs with nearly 10,000 in production. There's this much heat in there still. Paul Skeens is still in the wild according to known trackers. I believe it. Roki, there's no confirmation of the card existing ever in any of these, eBay markets. That's huge. Low numbered population density, which is 05 of 10. So red and black. For my specific cam hunt, the black, the PSA data is pretty encouraging. The black one, there's only 3 that have been circulating. I know that because I tried to buy one of them, and the guy is an idiot who wouldn't sell it to me because I offered him a very good price and he ended up settling for half because he was stubborn and an asshole, which doesn't make sense. But either way, it's not the point. The population gap. So the total production versus the PSA pop. This is our best friend. So here's what we're thinking with the rip logic. If we're opening a product where half of the one-of-ones are already out at PSA, that product's fucked. It's dead. It's useless. But in this set, only 8 autographs have been sent to PSA, and there are 10,000. The goal here for me, and then probably for some of y'all too, which is why I'm going to post this, target the remaining boxes. If you can get it for 80, get it for 80. It's good investment to rip if you get in at the good price. Do not jump in at 120. Don't jump in at 140 unless you really don't there. Get in while you can. We're in the infancy phase of discovery. Like, take that in. This sold out July. And PSA is telling us we're in infancy.